talk about here, Corey, why don't we first start things off by just saying the vibes are good right now, aren't they?
Almost perfect. Almost in perfect working condition are the vibes. Yeah, I think that's fair.
A lot of good things happening. So there's your vibe check on Monday. Things are great. Looking at some local sports news, which you can always find on Sports Cow on Facebook.
Moo.
It's calving season, so make sure we got to get those moos in order. So moo to you, moo to all of the expecting cows out there, all the expecting heifers, first timers.
Today was probably a big day, my guess.
Big day. Moo. All right, let's first talk a little high school baseball. And in the Parker's Prairie sphere, they are once again having some news to announce. And that is that they have a new stolen base leader. Mason Basil has now set the Parker's Prairie school record with most career stolen bases.
Is he fast, CJ?
I would guess so.
Has he set any other running records?
Only like the school's all-time leading rusher or something like that, or most rushing yards in a single season. I think he set the record for most rushing yards in a single game. So, yeah, is he good? Is he a good athlete?
Yeah, it turns out he can run around a little bit.
Yeah, it turns out he can, as other sports figures say, he can do some stuff out there.
That's right.
He did 61 times over his career. So 61 is the number. 61, 62-ish, roughly about that over the course of his career. That's a lot of steals, Corey.
It's not even May yet. There's a lot of season.
There is a lot of season
left in this year of baseball for Mason. I think that number is going to go up a little.
What are we setting the over-under at? Like 78?
Geez, how many games are left?
On the Parker's Prairie schedule? Let me look that up.
I mean... if he's getting on base, he's stealing a base.
Right. Exactly.
So
the only thing that would hurt his case if he kept hitting too many doubles or triples or something like that.
Right. Exactly.
Which also, again, probably doing a lot of as well. Parker's Prairie, this is according to minnesotascores.net on the website here. First of all, 6-2 start to the season. Pretty good. They, according to this, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-ish games. And then, of course, that they're going to play some postseason games as well, most likely.
So 12, you have to win your first round. So it's at least 13.
Mm-hmm.
Win that, you get at least 2 more. So we're talking about 15 more games potentially for Parker's Prairie. I mean, are we talking about 15 more steals?
I mean, yeah, if you just go even one a game.
So we set the over under then at 75 and a half.
Yeah. I think I'm taking that over.
Or do we set it at 73 and a half?
Either way, I think I'm taking the over.
It's a lot, man, because he's probably going to try to steal third once he steals second.
Right.
Yeah, I think 78 and a half is the number. Come on, Mason, let's do this.
Come on, do it. We got a milkshake bet here, except we both picked the over. So.
Definitely.
We'll both buy each other a milkshake. It'll be great.
Congratulations, Mason.
There's a lot of other things that happened in the local sports scene over the weekend. Let's switch gears to track and field here a little bit. This is something that was announced late last week for Otter Tail Central track and field. Maisha Antoni soared to new heights, breaking the school record with an incredible 5'3" high jump.
Way to go, Maisha. Yeah, she can fly. I don't know if you've seen her play volleyball at all, but yeah, she's what you'd like to call a leaper, CJ.
There's a lot of excited people. And of course, the coaching staff at the Otter Tail Central track and field team are the most excited because she broke that record, which is amazing.
Yes.
You know who the next 2 most excited people are?
Who?
I would guess Christy Fink and I would guess Mike Hepela. Would guess maybe those would be the next 2.
They have a wonderful athlete on their hands.
Yeah, exactly. You think she'll be playing in the front the front row next year?
Yeah, I think we can find her right there in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So congratulations to her. That's cool. Super, super cool. Another super cool thing for local track and field is the fact that there were 2 different elite meets this weekend. Did you know that?
I knew there was one.
There was one in Hamlin.
Yep.
And then there was one in Fargo. So that was like an elite meet for, Western Minnesota and North Dakota.
Sure.
Kind of schools, and obviously Hamlin with the one featuring mainly Minnesota. Maybe there's a Wisconsin school here or there. Let's start out with the one for in Fargo. Wadena Deer Creek was there. Pelican Rapids was there. A few other schools, United North Central, made an appearance. Let's first start with Wadena Deer Creek. Some highlights. Amber Collins was third in the girls 400 with 102 as her time.
Jeez.
Grant Nelson finished 21st in the boys 800 with a 217. In the 1600 meter, Grant Nelson got second with a 433.
That's nice.
That's a PR. And I want to see that has a 2025 Minnesota High School outdoor ranking at number 48, according to the track athlete.
What's your fastest mile?
Not that fast. Not that fast.
I
was like 6:15 in high school. I was happy with that. Like I was like, I don't think I can get any better than that.
My fastest mile, I would have beat. Who ran this?
Grant Nelson.
I would have beat Grant if he would have had to run it twice. That was my fastest mile. I broke 7 minutes one time. That was my fastest mile. I'm pretty proud of that. Look at me. Look at how I look. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, as you should be.
This is how I looked.
Some other notable things. The girls 4x200 meter relay got ninth with a time of 1:54.
Nice.
In the boys pole vault, Tanner Collins set a PR, finished seventh. And I don't quite see the finish result here.
Sure.
But still finished seventh in the pole vault. And that's pretty darn good. Looking at United North Central, their girls 4x800 meter relay got second. That features Aho, Leto, Aho, and Josephson, all on that list at 10:10 with their time in the 4x800 meter relay.
Nice.
Macy Josephson finished 11th in the girls 800 with the 230. Anaya Aho finished with 234, and she finished 14th in that. Looking at Pelican Rapids, seeing any notable things. In the girls 400, Megan Guler finished with 1:02 in that one. And I'm just trying to kind of quick skim to see if there's anything else. In Nevis, Ethan Buckholtz in the boys high jump finished second. And again, I don't see a thing here to talk about him. For Ottertail Central, they were also there at that one. Kinley Borman in the triple jump finished second in that one. And also finished fifth in the long jump. Peter Newark had a 10:35 in the boys 3200 meter. He finished eighth. Aiden Hegum had 54 seconds in the boys 400, 54.02 to finish 10th. As I'm scrolling through, I think that's most of our area schools here. Bertha Hewitt Verndale was there for girls. Lisa Dean finished 12th with a 103 in the girls 400. Kendra Miller finished fourth with a 532 in the 1600 meter. So there you go for that one. And then, of course, there was the elite meet down in Hamlin, which there's an article in John Malay's John's Journal, which you can check out on Sports Cow. We shared a link there.
Moo.
Where it talked about Brady Rock of Bertha Hewitt Verndale, and he got a shout out for his work in the 800 meter. Brady Rock of Bertha Hewitt Verndale in the 800 meter, Corey, 1:53.57.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
He can run a little bit. This is another one of them runners that we got in the area.
Yeah. And my runner brother was talking about it yesterday because he was home, and he was like, "That's like a legit, Division I, Division II. Like that's a legit like athlete time, which is what Brady Rock has proven to be."
Well, it's not we've known that Brady's been the premier boys runner in the area here for a couple of years now, and he's really good.
Continuing to do that. He was quoted here in the article This was the first time running at Hamlin for him, was beyond ecstatic. Because again, this is an elite meet. It's not just, oh, hey, we're bringing our team. This is like you got to get invited to go compete at this thing or qualify for it. He said, quote, "I was trying to come out here and not get last place," he said, smiling, which is an 100% quote. I could see Brady Rock saying, "It's the greatest feeling. I was surprised. I was really surprised." And then his coach, Kenny Miller, talking about calling him a great all-around athlete, said, quote, "He's an 1,000-point scorer in basketball. He plays other sports. A lot of these kids here from big schools, they can train for track year round. And this kid is legit in 3 sports. He does everything. That's a big difference. In small schools like us, we have to have kids like him to survive," which is true. So just overall, a really cool weekend. And I think it just shows once again, we had some, as much as we talk about baseball and softball, and that's true, some good track and field athletes around here as well, really making a name for themselves.
Some of the best in the entire state.
Mm-hmm. It's really
boys and girls.
Yep. So cool.
Division I recruits.
Uh-huh.
They're coming out of central Minnesota. It's cool.
They're good. So run fast or jump high or jump long. I don't know. Good job, guys.
Try your hardest or something.
Follow your dreams. All right, Corey, we got to talk a little state sports here because, man, are the vibes good. But before we get into the good vibes, there's another place that gives us good vibes, and it's the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Yeah, and we're looking ahead. If you're looking ahead to Mother's Day or Father's Day, or heck, graduation is right around the corner, maybe the idea here is grab a Pizza Ranch gift card. That would be pretty nice in that envelope of that grad party that you're attending. Whether you're honoring that parent, cheering on a new grad, Pizza Ranch gift cards, great way to show your appreciation for that person. So stop by the Wadena Pizza Ranch today. Grab that gift card that, as it says here, guarantees smiles. You know what else guarantees smiles? Chicken fingers and stuffed crust pizza.
I've never seen somebody frowning while eating chicken fingers and stuffed crust pizza.
Oh, what do you mean, chicken fingers? Yeah, right. No one's ever said it that way. I mean, I haven't. Maybe I'm projecting what I say about chicken fingers onto other people. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, hooking you up, hooking moms up, dads up, grads up, and everybody in between.
All right, so here we go, Corey. Let me just tell you what the vibes are like right now. I've been saying this all weekend, basically. Wolves in 5, okay? Wild in 6, all right? Vikings will have a top 5 offense in the NFL next season, and the Twins win 5-1 in their recent homestand, and they're back to winning baseball games. Corey, who's got it better than us?
I mean, it's we're in a good spot right now. We're in a really good spot. Where's the place to start with all of this? Do we ride the high of the Timberwolves game last night?
Let's finish. Let's get the Twins out of the way here first.
Okay.
We'll talk Wild a little more tomorrow when they drop the puck for game 5. Excuse me.
Yep.
We'll have Zeke on tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So we'll table the Wild discussion for tomorrow. Twins go 5-1 in a homestand. Where coming into last week, we're like, you got to go 5-1 in this homestand. You're playing the White Sox and the Angels, and they won 5 out of 6, which is what you're supposed to do. And not only that, as the series went on in this homestand, the White Sox, it felt like they eked out a couple wins, and then against the Angels, the Twins just straight up put the beat down on them.
Yeah.
11 runs on Saturday or on Friday. Simeon Woods Richardson tosses a 1-run gem on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Joe Ryan was absolutely filthy. The Twins offense plates across 5 runs and they win 5-0. So overall, they just did what they need to do, Corey. And I know that there's a 4-game series against Cleveland this week that we'll, again, talk about on tomorrow's show. That's tomorrow's problem. But just looking at the homestand, they did everything they needed to do. I don't know what else I need to say about it.
There's nothing else that you need to say about it because that's what they needed to do is what they got done. I want to, if I can, I just want to shout out Twins social media.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're generally pretty good. Minnesota sports, social media, marketing, whatever is pretty good. The Twins are on a pun streak, kind of like no other of late, and maybe that's just the route they're going this season. But they called him Simeon Goods Richardson the other day on social media, which is wonderful. How sweep it is. I mean, that's a classic one. Let's see. Joe kind of cooked today. Let's see. A catch. Where else? Oh, RB tie. Thank God for Ty France. Like they're just on their pun game right now, and puns are fun when your team is winning.
Yes, they are.
It'd be a really bad look to get super punny in the first month of the season. That would not have been a good look.
Especially if you're like the Chicago White Sox or something like that. It's like, we're trying to have fun. It's like, nobody's having fun here.
This is not fun for anyone.
No, everybody wants the season to be over as fast as possible. What are you talking about? Anyway, I think the person who runs the Twins admin is really, really good at her job. She's gotten shout outs before by certain Twins beat writers and things like that, whether it's like the content stuff they make over spring training versus like, it's a long season. You're going to be tweeting out a lot of stuff. You got to find some way to keep it fresh. My favorite is when they did media day back in, February, when the Twins first reported to spring training. Ty France has he's just holding like a piece of paper, and that piece of paper just says, it's not a tie game anymore, and it's just spelled with his name.
Sure.
A tie game no more, or something like that. And just so every single time he breaks the tie, it's like
boom.
Just hold a piece of paper. Good job, guys.
They have a really now important series with Cleveland. This is an important early season. You're winning games now. You're riding high. You got to do some damage on the road. This is big. These are big. This is a big 4-game series with Cleveland.
Couple news and notes as well. Pablo Lopez, of course, back. He made his first start with the Twins again on Friday. Royce Lewis is doing rehab games in St. Paul. So the Twins play the Red Sox this weekend. People have kind of circled that Red Sox series as maybe where Royce can rejoin the team if those games go well. And again, with rehab games, don't look at the actual results. The Twins don't care about the results in the game. They care about, like, does Royce play he'll play a half game, and then he'll play 3/4 of a game, and then he'll play a full game, and then can he play like 2 full games back to back or something like that? It's that, like, you're just
ready.
Right. How is his body holding up? Can we play him 2 games in a row without him falling apart? Like,
I will say his first game back, I saw a few highlights, and he did the whole thing. He hit, he played in the field, whatever. He was not in a huge hurry to get down the first baseline.
Right. And the Twins might be on a no running in St. Paul. Like, there's no point in beating out that base hit.
No, but that's one of the things you have to figure out.
Right. Exactly.
And it might just be if you beat it into the dirt, you have to do your job. And I know we have to set examples and things like that, but you're not running, you're not getting infield singles anymore. That's just not how this works.
We're not doing anybody any good by you beating out an infield single in AAA and then re-aggravating your hamstring.
No, we need to stretch triples into doubles kind of a situation. That's what we need out of him right now.
Right, exactly. So anyway, there's that. And of course, you remember Luke Keyshaw? We talked about him. We're big Luke Keyshaw guys on the show.
Right, yeah.
Apparently the Angels aren't, because they decided to throw at him and broke his wrist.
Yep, hate it. Angels are a cursed
Franchise. They deserve everything they get, depriving me of the joy of watching Luke Keyshaw play baseball.
He was their best player.
He got hit in the wrist with a ball.
Broke.
What
a sucky way to break a bone.
It's
like, just in general, not as a baseball player, just in general, blunt force trauma, breaking a bone sounds like an awful way to break a bone.
Right. Exactly. And it's not even like, I know the Twin, like, obviously Royce Lewis gets hurt running down the first baseline, and rightfully people go like, okay, well, like, how does that keep happening? What the heck? This is like I don't know, man. Somebody threw a round rock at his wrist.
Yeah, no, this one's explainable.
This is just unfortunate. Like when Buxton gets hit in the hand with a pitch or something, and you're like,
Of course it happens to the one guy who's the catalyst keeping this baseball team afloat for the past 2 weeks. Of course it has to happen to that guy.
I spent hours writing a great article on Luke Keyshaw, and then it just nothing. It's gone into the wind.
Stinks.
Darn it. Hopefully he'll be back, later in the season, but we'll see. I mean, heck, Kyle Farmer came back from getting his face smashed up a couple seasons ago, so
it's true.
It'll be all right. But of course, it's always cruel because it's always like your wrist, which impacts your hitting. Whatever.
Turns out everything. Turns out that's an important body part in the game of baseball.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, There we go. Big series. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Luke Keeshaw's out for the foreseeable future. So Mickey Gasper is back with the club. Congratulations to Mickey. He's so fine,
He looks like a New York City street cop.
Yes, he does. He looks like he'd be perfect to play for the New York Yankees.
He looks like he said, like Mickey, yo, Mickey. He look, it comes.
What about it? Yeah.
His name comes with an accent in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Hey. All right. So there's the Twins. Done with the Wild. We're gonna talk Vikings draft in just a second, but we gotta talk about that Timberwolves game. Anthony Edwards. I said this in the second quarter of the game. Remember, there was that point where they had to kind of break apart Ant and LeBron and then they showed the replay and it's like Ant's walking down the court with them and they're both kind of like getting in a shoving match with each other a little bit, which for people who haven't played basketball at any competitive level, they go what the heck are they doing? But if anybody's played, not saying that pushing and shoving, but just the little you're going down the court and it's a little I'm going to try and muscle you up a little bit and just send a message. I was if Anthony Edwards, after that clip goes viral, because of course it does, if they win this game and the Wolves go on to win this series, that is going to be a very big sticking point in people's minds, just narratively. And Anthony Edwards helped orchestrate a 10-point comeback in the second half after playing an awful third quarter. The Lakers said bet and played an even worse fourth quarter, and the Wolves won the game. Anthony Edwards, 43 points. They win 116-113. Corey, how fun is this?
Well, they're better than the Lakers. I mean, this is something we've said since the very beginning, since before the series even started. I don't want to sound like we're taking a victory lap on this, and I don't I'm trying to not make it sound like hindsight is 2020. The Lakers can't score 120 points. It's the Timberwolves are going to score 110 to 117 points a game, which means you have to score 120 to beat them. I've watched for 4 games Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo. I've just watched these guys go at and around LeBron and Luka for 4 straight games. Mm-hmm. And when they get there, there's nobody at the rim to scare them. Or if the help does come, somebody's wide open in the corner for a 3 somewhere along the lines. They are, if basketball was just about offense, the Lakers could do this. But they have to play defense too, and they're not playing any defense. I don't know what else to. Is this the most points now they've scored in a game, and they still lost?
Yep. Yes, it is.
They can't. I just don't know how the Timberwolves are a better, deeper team.
Mm-hmm. The Lakers in the series have scored 94, 95, 103, and now 113.
Luka and LeBron have combined for roughly 140 points in the last 2 games, and they've lost those games.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a good team.
I was told Austin Reeves was the 4th best player in the series.
Austin Reeves is an awesome player. He's an awesome player. He's the 3rd best player. I don't know. If he was on the Timberwolves team, he'd be their 3rd best player. You know what?
There's an interesting article I saw, and it was talking about, or it was the tweet referencing an article from a few years ago, and it says the NBA is entering what they call its weak link era, which is basically certain sports are this is your best link can carry you, and other sports it's hey, if you have this one area of your team that's bad, it will tie you down, and everybody is going you were just going to suffer. And the NBA, this is in the last 5 to 10 years, the NBA is entering its weak link era. And it's true in this series. The Wolves have the better roster. The Lakers have the star power. Luka and LeBron. Although, this series is changing how people think of Anthony Edwards. But let's go into this series. People thought Luka number 1, LeBron number 2, just the current where they're at. Anthony Edwards number 3 in this series. Let's say that premise is true. But let's look at who the bottom 5 players in this series are. They're all wearing purple and gold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the difference.
And I don't, and that's, we're over exaggerating the other side. Like, and I don't know, maybe this is the homer in me too, but like, I do think most basketball fans think that Anthony Edwards is in a better spot in his career than LeBron. Now, LeBron is going to get the glory for this because of what he's doing at 40 years old, and he deserves it and has earned it. I have no say in this, but like Luka's, I think everybody would argue is the clear best number one. The gap between Edwards and LeBron is, if you think it's LeBron, Edwards is right there. And if
he's like making a point to try and pass him, like he's.
So this is, by the way, like you go back to that Phoenix series a year ago in the playoffs, and you remember Ant was in KD's face an entire series long, and it was endearing to basketball fans in general. And then so he took out KD and Booker, and then he took out Jokic in the next round, and then ran into a heater in Luka and Dallas a year ago. They're a game away from knocking out Luka and LeBron. This is a Timberwolves team that kind of shows up in big moments. Mm-hmm. And I know Minnesota sports fans don't like to talk about it because it makes them nervous. There's almost the reason you should be nervous is because Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves are not going to play in Game 5. That's the game that should make you nervous. This Timberwolves team shows up big in the biggest moments. They have for Edwards' pretty much entire career, but for sure the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the other thing too about the Wolves. All year long, the Wolves have been one of the worst teams in the NBA in clutch situations. Final 2 minutes, like. They've left probably like 5 or 6 wins throughout the regular season on the table because they were just so bad in crunch time. And so the perceived advantage to the Lakers was just don't let the Wolves boat race you and you're probably going to be fine. Like you want them to be in a meat grinder with you in the last 2 minutes because the Wolves found ways to lose games.
We said it. We're idiots.
Right. And the Wolves went, okay, fine. It's playoff mode. They find, and here's the thing about the Wolves, and I said this all regular season long. The Wolves may lose a game to Utah. They'll lose a game to Washington. They'll lose some of these games throughout the year, and you'll be incredibly frustrated, and it'll be embarrassing. But then they'll play Denver, and they'll play like they're out of their minds. And I was like, the good news is about the playoffs are all of the games are important, and you get time in between them. And like the Wolves show up to play. And everybody was joking about Jaden McDaniels. And then people are like, all the Laker fans like, how is Jaden McDaniels averages 12 points a series and they're now scoring like 24 a game? Because you didn't look up Jaden McDaniels' postseason numbers. Because they are meeting the moment. In crunch time, the Wolves in Game 3 and in Game 4 showed up. The Wolves in this series have dominated the fourth quarter. Every single game. There's a tweet earlier, I know that I shared with you and Zeke and kind of the thread that we've just been really having fun with the last couple days here in Minnesota sports. But according to this was, I think, Al Horton, the radio voice of the Wolves. Wolves versus Lakers, fourth quarter. Game 1. LA shot 28%, and the Wolves outscored them 23-17. In Game 2, which is the game the Lakers won, the Wolves outscored the Lakers 20-13 in the fourth quarter, and the Lakers shot 26%. In Game 3, the Lakers shot 35% in the fourth quarter. The Wolves outscored them 30-20. In Game 4, the Lakers shot 28% in the fourth quarter, and Minnesota outscored them 32-19. And of course, in Game 3, it was 103-103 with like 4:20 left, and the Wolves held them to 0 points the rest of the game. They're just finding a way to do it. I don't know.
Well, and I'm going to keep harping on this. You talk about Jaden and like, how is this guy 12-point a game score? And then he goes crazy in the playoffs. And you mentioned, we'll look at his playoff numbers, and that is true. Who's guarding him? They don't have anyone to guard. I don't know why this is like a hard thing to figure out.
A lot of the NBA world is grappling with this. And like, once you look at it from a Wolves perspective, you're like, yeah, why is like
Can LeBron guard anybody and everybody whenever he wants for a moment in time? Yeah, 100%. Is he getting his hands on balls that like only a superstar can do? Yeah. Is he getting up and still blocking shots in crucial moments? Like LeBron's defining feature is blocking the ball off the backboard. Like
he had a great block on DiVincenzo yesterday.
He can still do all of those things on occasion. But you cannot ask LeBron to guard Anthony Edwards for a full game. And if you do, the rest of your team is going to get cooked. Like they don't have the number of times I've seen Austin Reeves having to guard Naz Reid, and Naz Reid is just like, okay, bump, turn around, left hand, 6-footer, bucket. We go the other direction. I mean, I think Naz has probably scored 14 points in these 4 games on that exact matchup and that exact scenario I laid out. They don't have anybody to guard anybody. That's really hard to win when you're in the fourth quarter and can't guard at the point of the attack and can't guard at the rim. That's a really poor recipe to win basketball games, and the Timberwolves are better than them.
This is a stat from Jace Frederick, who covers the Wolves for the St. Paul Pioneer Press. And the Timberwolves in the clutch, he says, in this series, the Wolves are 2-0. And they have a net rating of plus 88.1. Go back to last year in the opening round series against Phoenix and Denver to the second round. 3-0 with a 75.6 net efficiency rating. And this is especially true in that Phoenix series. What are all of these things have in common? They don't have that quote unquote rim protector. Like, and Jaden McDaniels admitted it after game 3. Or even game 1, whatever. He was like, they don't have Jackson Hayes or whatever his name is on the floor. And he's like, I looked, I'm like, I'm the biggest player on the floor. I'm just going to go to the hoop. Like Laker fans were talking about, again, there's a lot of fans who follow the Lakers who box score watch and then talk about the game or don't have the basketball, whatever. There were a lot of people, them talking about Jaden McDaniels magnet ball in game 3. That's not going to happen again. Like, what do you mean Jaden McDaniels magnet ball? 22 of his 24 points came in the paint. He dunked it. That's not a magnet ball. You don't have anybody who can guard him down there.
The thing that I keep coming back to here too is I know this conversation's going to come back around to, but when everybody, but the Lakers still have the most star power, which is technically true.
That's true.
What else could the Lakers have needed out of a game than LeBron going ballistic and Luka doing Luka things? Rui had his game. Austin Reeves did not have a good first half. He had a really all of his points came in the second half. It was like 14 or 15 points in the second half. The game prior to that, LeBron went crazy. Like, what else? Do you need all 5 of your starters to have a game of their career?
You know what?
By the way, they only played their 5 starters, essentially. I know Hayes was a starter for him, but like they pulled him immediately. They have played 5 guys from 3 minutes left in the second quarter the rest of the game. I mean, if that's going to be the case, then if you get 80 points, if you get 80 points from Luka and LeBron, where are the other 40 coming from? Where are they coming from?
I mean, let's say you get 20 from Reeves. Okay. You got to get 20 from Rui, and then you got to get and by the way, the Wolves, the Wolves defense is right on him. They are wearing him out. And we said this even after game 2, which we agreed was bad. The Wolves played their worst offensive game in 2 years. And they still, by the way, only lost by 9. Like, they were in that game, despite the fact that they were pitiful on offense. But you know, we kind of all, it was a bad loss. And there were some things in there that didn't go the Wolves' way or whatever. But you know, we didn't go, oh, shoot, series is over. Here comes LA. You know what we did? We went on this show, Corey, and we went, doesn't really look like the Lakers have the legs to run with the Wolves.
This would normally be the time in the conversation where I would say it's not over. Like, you still have to take it seriously. And the Timberwolves are prone to not taking serious things seriously. Or this is of all the unserious games in the series, this is the most unserious. Right.
They're going back on the road. They got 3 days rest.
Right. If we get it there, whatever, we'll just win it at home. I don't like that complacency. So that's in play. However, since before this series started, I've said Wolves in 5. And so I am saying it's over. Wolves in 5.
It's really fun to see this team cook. It's so fun to see. The league ignores the Timberwolves almost all season, and then in the playoffs, it was like, "Oh, this Minnesota team's pretty good." And it's like, "Yeah, have you not been paying attention?"
Well, they were weird all year.
They were weird, especially in the first half.
Especially in the first half,
almost like they traded their franchise centerpiece for 10 years, a month before the season started, and it took them a long time. And I think this is a big appreciation. And this is again where I think we deserve credit. I'm going to give us credit on this show. Remember, at the beginning of the season, in December, and even early January, when this team was weird, everybody was trashing Julius Randle and saying this is a horrible fit. The Wolves completely got fleeced in this trade. What are we doing? Karl Anthony Towns is having his life over there in New York, and what's going on? And we went on the show and we're like, yeah, things are weird. We have to let them be weird for a little bit. We're not gonna we weren't gonna nail Julius Randle on the tree here of this guy sucks, get him out of town, whatever. We were like, yeah, things are weird, but we got to allow him time to figure it out. And again, the Wolves have won now 25 of the last 29 games Julius Randle has played in. He's very important to what they want to do on defense. And he'll get lost in space from time to time, but he's physical. On the offensive end, he's physical. And he's got Kendrick Perkins talked about Ant is helping Julius Randle, whatever. It's more Chris Finch, because Chris Finch is the guy who coached with him in New Orleans when Finch was an assistant. And Finch is the one who's like, hey, I can work with Julius Randle. I got a vision for him. And it took a while because there was some injuries. And it just took a while to get used to playing with the Wolves. But he was kind of a black hole in New York. And he's come here and he's figured out how to facilitate and play with Ant. And Finch has been helping him along. And he's not the most impactful player in this series, but he's not been a very impactful player in this series for the Wolves. And it's going to be interesting because 4 months ago, this fan base was like, we're stuck with Julius Randle. We got to trade him at the deadline. What's going on? He's going to opt in. And now next year, it's like, all right, we get a full year of Julius Randle with this Wolves team. That's he's been a very important player. And I think we get credit for saying let's be patient with this process. And now it's kind of bearing the fruit.
Well, he's been really good. He has some major flaws that that foul he had on the 3 on Luka was just stupid.
Right.
And that is a thing that if you have watched Julius Randle over the years, he does.
He's got some boneheaded plays in there.
He is and boneheaded plays and boneheaded lapses and whatever. He thinks he's really good. He is quite good. They replaced a guy who was the team's second best player with a guy who needed to become the team's second best player. And he's certainly been the most consistent player in this 4-game series so far. Jaden's had big games. Ant's the star and has had huge moments, but Julius has been the most consistent player through 4 games in this series.
Yes.
Period.
And he had potentially what could be his best playoff game ever yesterday.
Yep.
Scoring wise, defense wise, whatever. Yeah. I mean, the lapses and judgment are there. We've all seen highlights of him throughout the season or low lights of he just kind of is standing along the baseline.
Yeah.
He just kind of forgets to move.
And it's a career of that. So we're not discounting that. And by the way, I do want to also make up the point here too. This sounds like we're anointing them. And I don't think I'm going to pick them against Oklahoma City if that time comes. I don't think that's who they would match up with next.
They would play Golden State or Houston.
So Golden State or Houston. I would probably pick the Timberwolves against Golden State or Houston. But what I am doing is I am saying, and I think you are with me in this, they're better than the Lakers. We felt that since the beginning and have said that since the beginning.
We were not scared of this. When this matchup got announced, there were a lot of people go, oh, great, we got to take on LeBron and Luka and the Lakers. It's no, this is actually the matchup the Wolves should want in the first round. And that is bearing truth as we speak. Again,
still got to get one more win.
Got to get one more. The series isn't over, but god dang it, you have them on the brink, finish them off. That Golden State Houston series feels like it's going to go to 7. Win, be done, rest up, and get ready for that one.
And there's no reason to like fart around with this because OKC got it done in a hurry.
Exactly.
Like, go ahead and just like, you know what? Nobody else is coasting. There's no gentleman sweep in that series. Like, just go ahead and take care of it because you can. Somebody else already got their ass kicking in. So nobody's going to talk about you. They're going to talk about how OKC wiped Memphis up. And let that be the conversation. Boy, oh boy, look, they're just absolutely rolling. Who's going to get in OKC's way? Just go ahead and take care of it in 5. Go party. Go have fun. Get rested up. Get ready for the next one.
Right, exactly. And by the way, this is, again, remember how important it was for the Wolves to win at the end of the season and avoid the play-in? Because that Memphis Golden State game was down to the wire. Like, there was a chance that Golden State would have had to go and play OKC. And let me tell you, they probably wouldn't have gotten swept, but it certainly would not have been a much more competitive series because OKC is really good. And that was the thing for the Wolves. Like, don't even put yourself in that position. I know Houston is gettable because they're very playoff inexperienced, but let somebody else go figure that out. Go, like, avoiding the play-in, getting the full week of rest and game plan for that for the LeBron and Luka series was very important for this team. And not only that, not that the Wolves would have been a much more competitive series against OKC than Memphis was. Obviously, that Memphis team is a mess right now. But avoid them. Wait to play them until the conference finals if you can.
And not good.
Mm-hmm. Remember a couple years ago when Josh said he wasn't scared of the West? They chewed him up and spit him out for 2 years now. Pretty easily.
Screw your head on tighter, you big doofus.
By the way, there's 2 last points I got to say on the NBA stuff, and then we got to talk Vikings. Is one, somebody yesterday, and I think they were just baiting, but like it was really funny, put out there like, everybody's talking about Ant, but I'm still on the camp that LaMelo is better than Anthony Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember that was a debate for a while. Who's better, LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. LaMelo's fun.
He's a fun player. He's a good player. Not Anthony Edwards. So that was fun. The second thing was this was just a great game. Clean, no controversy in that Wolves game at all. This doesn't need a talking. This is just it's more of a comment. I'm just throwing this out there and we're going to talk Vikings. But when you have Laker fans crying about officiating and you have JJ Redick crying to mommy, which in this case is the officials and the NBA after the game, that's how you know you have broken them. Like, that's not like LeBron has been in plenty of playoff series where he goes, we got to do what we got to do. We're a good team. We're going to do it. Like, and LeBron wasn't after the game a ton, but like, it's just more of like when you have a team like that, it's like when you have the Yankees talking about umpiring not going their way or something like that, you're like, oh, like they're broken. Like, it's not like we're going to figure it out. Any good team, the Patriots, we're a good team. We're going to find a way to win. Who cares? Like when you have them doing that, you've kind of broken them a little bit. And
I have no comment. Make more than 1 in 4 shots in the fourth quarter for an entire series, and we can have a conversation.
But LeBron said the hand is part of the ball. Good job, Bucko. It is. You grabbed his wrist. Good.
I will not comment on this.
By the way, one last thing. The Wolves, remember last year, the replay against Dallas was a game 1, I think, where the replay showed a foul, but according to the league rules, they weren't looking specifically for a foul, so you couldn't call a foul. They changed that rule over the summer, and everybody jokes about how they changed the overtime rules in the NFL to benefit, because of the Vikings, and the Vikings don't get to benefit. Like all these different rule changes that have happened because a Minnesota sports franchise has been screwed. Well, here we go. We get 1 in the win column because the Wolves had something happen to them last year. They changed the rule, and because of that, it benefited the Wolves. Good job. All around.
Let's talk Vikings.
All right, here we go. Minnesota Vikings draft is in the books. We did not talk about it on Friday because we're like, hey, let's wait till the full draft class is done, and we'll kind of just evaluate it all in one piece. So I'm going to pull up the Vikings 2025 draft class. First off, things started in the first round where the Minnesota Vikings decided to go offensive line. They took guard Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State at 24 overall. Vikings did not have a second round pick that belonged to Houston because the Vikings used it last year to move up and get a second first rounder. They took in the third round Ty Felton, who's a wide receiver out of Maryland, kind of a burner type of player, got a lot of tools. And then in the 5th round, they took a defensive lineman, Tyron Ingram Dawkins, out of Georgia, and on the interior. And then they took a linebacker out of Penn State in the 6th round, Kobe King. And there's the Johnny Munt replacement, Gavin Bartholomew, a tight end out of Pittsburgh in round 6. Just a 5-player draft class. They came into the draft with 4 picks. And then, of course, they brought in a whole bunch of free agents and stuff like that that'll get talked about. But overall, I mean, let's really just focus on the first 2 picks, because those are really any guys that will realistically see the field for the Vikings. Corey, 1st round, Vikings go offensive line. Kind of yay or nay, fine. What's your, is there any kind of grand sweeping indictment to be made after this?
No, he's a really good player. He's a 1st round grade draft player. He is a spot that the Vikings needed to improve, and the Vikings have done everything in their power in this offseason to make life for JJ McCarthy as easy as possible. And that is hopefully going to be what this guy provides to the entire process. I mean, I've only seen the positive stuff that's been written about him since the draft. He's an unbelievable athlete. He was a standout guard. They moved him to left tackle. He ended up being a standout left tackle collegiately as well. They put him back at he'll play guard at the NFL level. He just seems to be like he's going to slot right in and just be able to hold his own and not be a complete and utter mess, which the Vikings have seen out of that position, and especially up the middle. Recent past, they've been kind of weak up the middle in that offensive line. They're doing everything they can to make life for JJ McCarthy as easy as possible, which is either going to be wonderful or we're going to find out they had to do all this work because JJ McCarthy stinks. But no, I have, like we talked about before the draft, I cared less about who they picked and more about how they were going to go about making those picks and what sort of maneuvering they were going to do. They stayed. They picked a really solid player, it seems like, to fill an important spot on their offensive line. And I have no notes of consequence about that pick. It is a perfectly sufficient pick.
Yeah. I think going back to the 1st round pick for the Vikings, it really does go from a whole offseason strategy of, let's face it, Kevin O'Connell threw his interior offensive lineman under the bus after they got bounced against the Rams because they weren't good, and they weren't good against Detroit the week before. And again, we talk about weak link systems. Offensive line is a weak link system. If you have an all-star left tackle and right tackle, which I know Darisaw was hurt, but the Vikings do, you know what you do? You say, okay, cool. We're going to let them kill our defensive end, but we're just going to let that happen. We're going to find the worst offensive lineman, and we're just going to flood that area until it breaks. And that's what teams did against the Vikings. Interior pressure after interior pressure after interior pressure, and the Vikings couldn't handle it. So what they did was they got rid of Garrett Bradbury, brought in Kelly, the center from the Colts. They brought in his buddy Will Fries to fill in the right guard spot. So, Ed Ingram, Dalton Reiser's probably not coming back after this. Like, he's taking that right guard spot. Now you have Brian O'Neill. That side of the line, solidified. Christian Darisaw coming back. That part's done. Now you had guard, and that was the interesting part. The Vikings liked Blake Brandel enough as a developmental guy to give him a chance to start last season, and they did. And he was okay at the beginning, but as the season went on and on, he just started to get worse and worse and wore down. And I think kind of made the realization, like, he's probably just a high-end backup, like low-end starter. And if you're the Vikings, you already improved 2 of the 3 positions on the interior offensive line. Just do the other one and make it really good. Blake Brandel, if one of them gets hurt, can play in a pinch. He can be a swing tackle. He can be a whatever. Like, he's there if you need him. He's not going away. But now you have more talent on that offensive line. That was a problem. It's why the Vikings got bounced last year, or one of the main reasons why. Like, they were bad in the trenches on the offensive and defensive lines. They just weren't good enough. And the Vikings made a point this offseason to improve and overhaul the offensive line on the interior. They signed Jonathan Allen. They signed Jonathan Hargrave. They add pieces on the defense. Like, they made a point to get better in the trenches, and they spent most of their offseason capital addressing the trenches.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just it's
so perfectly reasonable and perfectly fine pick.
You have Brandel now who can play 4 probably of the 5 offensive line positions. I don't know if the Quesenberries taste like Quesenberries, what his contract status is, but there's another guy. Like, you have 7 offensive linemen now. Done. You're done. You're done on the offensive line. So
right.
It's a really good spot to be.
Exactly. The Vikings really liked the ability of their first round pick in Donovan Jackson. They just liked his smarts. They felt like he was a really big fit. And for a draft where there wasn't a lot of like these high profile, once he got to pass the top like 5 athletes, a lot of reasons like, oh, this player didn't fit my board and this board and whatever board. Every team's board is different because it's about fit, right? Like, this is a job interview. Like, how does this guy fit in our organization? How's this guy going to work with the people around him? And I think here, I thought the Vikings maybe go interior D-line. I thought they would go defensive back maybe. But as the draft kept going on, it just looked like both those positions weren't necessarily, like, the high-end players weren't going to be there. But also Paul Allen said the morning of the draft, he mentioned the Booker, the lineman the Cowboys took earlier. But he didn't mention Jackson by name, but he mentioned him or Gray Zabel, who got picked by the Seahawks earlier as well. Like, he's like, look for the Vikings to go interior offensive lineman. And when he said that, I'm like, they're probably picking a guard, aren't they? Like, when the radio voice of the Vikings, who's in that building like almost every day, goes, yeah, kind of feeling like maybe they lean offensive line round 1. Then when that happened, I was much less surprised. And in fact, I would have been less surprised if they didn't take an offensive lineman, because why not? Like, again, the whole offseason is to make everything as easy. And this is a 2 offseason project. Make everything as easy for the rookie quarterback you are about to bring in. The Vikings were setting it up last year, and it was part 1 of a 2-year plan. We kind of knew that 2025, 2026 were the years that they were really like, it's go time. And they were building the infrastructure around J.J. McCarthy. And look, maybe J.J. McCarthy's bad. I don't know. But, like, if you're the Vikings, the vision kind of feels like it's San Francisco, right? Build a really good team around him and have a quarterback that can you just make like 4 plays a game? Other than that, just follow the recipe and they're going to win a lot of games.
I don't want to sound like it's a doom or gloom thing here, but we pin this on making it easy for JJ. But the point is you make it easy for your quarterback. And the quarterback right now happens to be JJ. But one of the things that having JJ McCarthy be your quarterback provides is he's cheap. And that means when he's cheap, you can spend money in other places, including if your cheap quarterback sucks, you can spend money on a guy to come in and be your starter if that's what you need in 2 years' time, because you have set up your infrastructure now to be good in the intermediate time frame to have a quarterback, whether it is you bring in a veteran, like the Sam Darnold move or whatever is the next thing. Obviously, we know they signed old man, what's his name, Sam Howell, and to be the backup.
Man, he's like a 3-year.
I just with that, every time I hear Howell, I think about the old guy on Gilligan's Island. That's all. So I default to old man. Like the JJ happens to be the quarterback, but the point of all of this, the point of having JJ, which is a point we've made for years now about Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold and whoever else was going to be that quarterback, is they're cheap at quarterback, which opens up these worlds of possibilities to fill in all the blanks on the rest of your team. So that way, if the quarterback doesn't work out, you're not out anything. The rest of your team is solid. You just need to bring in a Sam Darnold, a Kirk Cousins, a Ryan Tannehill, a Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Josh Allen, an Aaron Rodgers. Like Phil, like who's that guy in the career, in the history of the NFL? Bring in that guy, and now all of a sudden you're really, really in the picture. And of course, they think JJ is going to be good, so that helps.
This will be the interesting thing now, because the Vikings did this last week. They had players start to report for the OTA, or for the, it's like OTAs, minicamp, or like off-season work. I don't quite know the acronyms that are going on here, but Vikings players were like back in the building and could talk with the coaching staff. Kind of. I think like O'Connell couldn't quite meet with players yet. It's like a very weird, like you can go in and use the facility, but you can't talk to coach it or whatever. It's some kind of weird loophole, or weird wording. But like in the next couple weeks, the Vikings are going to get like this full team together, and they are going to start doing drills and start doing things and doing whatever. This will be the first time we'll see JJ McCarthy getting consistent snaps with the ones. Last year, he maybe got like 5 all training camp because it was Kevin O'Connell made a point to like, you just go sit in the corner and learn. Sam's got the starting offense. Like, just let him go do that. You learn and like do your own thing. And he was going to start to probably get more with the ones after his training, after his preseason game and the split practices in Cleveland. Like, he was close to like earning more, but he got hurt before we could see him get more. Now we're going to see him like, it's your show, man. Here you go. Go do that. So it'll be really interesting to see now over the next couple weeks how he looks in practice, how he like commands the room and all that kind of stuff. Because from everything I've read and heard about, it's that like, not that he's won over the building, quote unquote, but like he's in. Like Aaron Jones, who's like a very well-respected veteran, went on NFL Network and talked about like, yeah, we love JJ McCarthy. Like, he's great. Like, and went out of his way to talk about like, provide examples, not just give the, yeah, he's a good kid. And then like avoid elaborating any further. Like, the Vikings feel like they got a good one. Like, Harrison Phillips talking about like how like he was in defensive meetings because he wanted to like see how the defense approach things and everything. This is if JJ McCarthy fails, because like it's not going to be because it's going to be just because he's awful. Like, it's not going to be because he doesn't care or doesn't have the brain. We've seen like he's shown over like behind the scenes that like that dude's a workaholic and like he's going to like put in the hours to like study whatever. And it's not going to be because of lack of effort from JJ McCarthy. And it's not going to be because of lack of help by the Vikings with Kevin O'Connell at the helm, Josh McCown in the room, and the Justin Jefferson, all of the weapons, the offensive line, and just the team around him. If JJ McCarthy fails, it's going to be just because he truly sucks. Nothing else.
Yep.
Like, it's just going to be because that guy's just bad at football. It's not going to be because he didn't care. Like, if they whiff, it's just because that guy truly sucks. And maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But even if he's just fine, like, meh, the Vikings have a good enough team around him in the infrastructure where they're still going to be winning a lot of football games.
The rule always, I mean, it goes back to, you want to go back to Tavares Jackson and Christian Ponder and Jeff George and like, sure. Just don't give the other team the ball. If you can avoid that, we're talking. Anything you get above that was the Sam Darnold thing. Just don't give the other team the football. We can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last 2 weeks, he gave the other team the football a little more. So that's like the expectations for JJ are not that high.
Right.
They're not that high. They don't need to be that high.
Exactly. Facilitate. That's all he needs to do. Sam Darnold talked about it last year when he like in training camp, like, and they're like, hey, Sam, what do you think about blah, blah, blah? He's like, they just told me to be a facilitator and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And then when Jefferson is open 45 yards down the field, in the middle of the field, just get it to him.
And the defender falls over trying to change direction 6 times.
Just like, it doesn't just throw it that direction. He'll go catch it. It's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect.
As we've learned, he can just go get footballs.
That part of being a quarterback is easy. Just throw it somewhere down there. It doesn't have to, you don't got to catch a guy in stride. Just put it up there so the guy can go get it. It's fine.
Just do the dang thing. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Let's get out of here. We could talk about this in circles. So, morning sports desk, Pizza Ranch, FunZone Arcade. We'll see you tomorrow.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.